We have never seen this before.
Count the bucket.
That right there was Giannis hitting his signature celebration from this season after finishing the and one. There was just one slight difference. That has been a celebration we have seen him use on the road.
Giannis blows past.
This time, Giannis wasn't retaliating to hostile fans in Indiana, he was retaliating to hostile fans in his own backyard. His city, his franchise, and boos directed at him and his team.
This is tied for the largest halftime deficit this year.
We are now over halfway through the NBA season, with the Milwaukee Bucks sitting at 18 and 25. The tiny glimmer of hope that people were hanging on to for this team, the hope that Giannis could carry this bunch of misfits and Doc Rivers to a playoff appearance, even a second round appearance, that hope has been erased. Because over the last week, the Bucks have reached the lowest of lows in over a decade, with 3 blowout losses in a matter of just a week, a 4th loss to a Nuggets team without Nikola Jokic or Jamal Murray, and a solitary win against a Hawks team because CJ McCollum decided to do the city of Milwaukee a massive favor.
Lost the ball, scoops it back up, forces up a prayer.
And right now, you are looking at the worst moment of Giannis's NBA career. A man so dejected, so defeated, he couldn't even look at his coach during the latest blowout loss to the Thunder. A man who has never experienced this before.
I can't even think of the times you've gotten booed at home.
I've never. I thrive when people don't believe in me. Doesn't matter if I'm on the road, if I'm at home, if I'm on my family dinner.
You can see the pain in Giannis's face when talking about being booed by his own fans. And look, we all know this wasn't directed at Giannis, but we also know Giannis is a guy who will take that personally. You heard him. He'll take a family dinner personally if he needs extra motivation. And when this is directed at his teammates, when this is indirectly directed at him because he is the face of that team, he is the best player, he is the max contract player, he is going to take some offense to it. Even in Indiana, that wasn't directed at him, but that's the pride he plays with. If you are on his team, he thinks you can win every single game, and he is going to give 100% effort to make that happen every single game. And when fans are booing him, then obviously he's going to feel a type of way. And this is something that has never happened to him because he's never given this fan base even a chance to boo him or his team. Because ever since Giannis was drafted in 2014, all the Bucks have done is won. Well, aside from that 15-win season he had as a rookie, but look at Giannis as a rookie. He was hardly ready to carry an NBA team to a title. Following that season, however, over the next decade, the Bucks have finished above 500 in 9 of those 10 seasons, including back-to-back 60-win seasons, multiple 50-plus win seasons, and a 7-year streak prior to this year of winning 48 games or more. We've seen Eric Bledsoe, we've seen Drew Holiday, Chris Middleton, Brook Lopez, Damian Lillard. We've seen countless players, countless coaches, and countless teams around Giannis. But these teams have all had one thing in common: winning, and winning a lot of games. And unless the Bucks trade Ryan Rollins and Kevin Porter Jr. for Steph Curry and replace Doc Rivers with Eric Spoelstra, that streak of 48 win seasons is going to be well and truly over. And we can also say the quiet part out loud. Giannis's time as a Buck might be over as well. Because I know Giannis came out a couple of weeks ago and said this. Well, since then, they've been blown out by a Timberwolves team without Anthony Edwards or Rudy Gobert. They lost to the Nuggets without their 2 best players and got blown out by the Spurs and the Thunder, which suggests this team isn't just average or mediocre. For the first time since he was a rookie, Giannis is playing on a bad team.
We're not playing hard. We're not playing hard. We're not doing the right thing. We're not playing to win. We're not playing together. Guys are being selfish.
And do you understand how bad you have to be as a franchise to be 7 games below 500 when you have this man playing for you? If you were just an NBA casual and saw the Bucks record, you might think Giannis has fallen off. Maybe age has caught up to him. Giannis might be having the most dominant offensive season of his career, and it doesn't matter at all. Because despite shooting a career high from the field, a career high from 3, averaging over 28 points, 5.5 assists, and nearly 10 rebounds per game, what are you supposed to do when the highest paid players on your team are Miles Turner, Damian Lillard, and Kyle Kuzma, a center shooting 42% from the field, a guy who isn't even in the same state as Giannis, and a guy who Bucks fans wished wasn't in the same state? That is the help Giannis Antetokounmpo has. And just to make things even worse, Doc Rivers is still the head coach of this team. You know what? Maybe this should be a conspiracy video instead. Maybe the Bucks actually want Giannis to request a trade so they can rebuild and start again. Because if you wanted to devise a plan with one objective, the objective being to force Giannis to leave without trading him, hiring Doc Rivers, trading for Kyle Kuzma, waiving Damian Lillard, and stretching his contract for 5 years only to then sign Miles Turner for too much money, not playing any of the rookies you have drafted, that sounds like a pretty decent plan to me. There's just one thing they didn't account for. Giannis's loyalty seemingly knows no bounds. And in spite of all of this, when Giannis has been on the floor, the Bucks have nearly a +7 net rating, which would be second best in the NBA. They have the best offense ever when he has been on the floor this season. They have the worst offense in the league when he goes to the bench. Giannis is single-handedly the difference between this team being elite and this team being a G League team. Giannis himself. And it's these kind of numbers that give the Bucks front office, if they aren't trying to get rid of him, hope that maybe, just maybe, if we trade for Ja Morant and he returns to his form and then him and Giannis can create a deadly combination, or maybe Zach LaVine, the extra shooting, alongside Giannis, he's going to figure it out. He's going to finally be a winning player. No. Why are these guys available for trade? I know. You know why these guys are available, and this is exactly how the Bucks got in this position in the first place. You made desperate moves, you made desperate decisions, and every single one of them has backfired. You are now fighting desperation with desperation, and you are losing every single time. And those numbers I mentioned about the Bucks being elite with Giannis on the floor, that is true, but even those numbers are starting to slip, with the Bucks being outscored in the last 4 games with Giannis on the floor. Because even as great as Giannis is, you have seen him struggle with how teams have defended him. The scoring hasn't changed because you can't stop him from scoring, but in that game against Minnesota and some other games, we've seen the turnovers become a slight problem, which makes sense when teams just don't respect anyone else on the floor next to him, allowing them to do things like this, where the second he touches the ball, he sees help from Wemby, so he tries to drop the pass to Kuz, and it's good defense from Johnson, but also poor from Kuz to not actually go and grab the ball. Or here in transition, just look at the bodies he sees as he attacks downhill. Even by Giannis's standards, that is a wall. And when you have a team full of players that the opposition doesn't respect, this is bound to happen. It is a miracle. It is unfathomable that somehow Giannis is averaging career high numbers from the field and from 3-point range despite all of this, that somehow the Bucks are still great when he's on the floor. But don't let this fool you. The Milwaukee Bucks, they're not mediocre, they're not average, they are a terrible team being just held together by one of the greatest players ever. And I think at this point, Giannis, it's time. It's time to request a trade. You're a legend, you will get a statue, but there's nothing else you can do.